So, welcome, Kirstin. I'm so happy that you're here to talk a little bit about your experience with understanding human design and being involved in the Sovereign Code and accessing all of your pure potent power. So happy that you're here to share about that. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are and what you do in the style of Cilla Black? You don't have to do it in the style of Cilla Black, but
I'm so happy to be here. So I am Kirstin Marshall, and I'm from Manchester. And I'm a coach and a mentor for women in corporate.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Contestant number 2. No, I'm going to leave the Cilla thing there. I mean, if people in America are watching this, Cilla Black is on like some old school dating program. Go Google it. Okay. So, Kirstin, tell me a little bit about what drew you to human design. Like, what interested you about the Sovereign Code and understanding your own human design and exploring that a little bit more?
Okay, so I was quite new to human design when I came into the Sovereign Code. I'd heard about it, it was something that people were talking about, and I thought, oh, sort of what is this? What's it all about? Anything like that intrigues me.
Yeah.
And then you and I had we had a one-to-one where you showed me my chart, which I'd never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I found it absolutely fascinating and just thought, right, okay, I would like to know more about this. This is something I need to know more about. You sort of feel really pulled to something. And that was how I felt about both human design and working with you, and sort of bringing that together in the Sovereign Code experience just felt perfect. So that is what drew me to the Sovereign Code. That's what sort of, what got me thinking I have to do this.
Your sacral response before you even knew it was a sacral response.
Exactly. I had no idea what was going on, but yeah, that's what was happening. Yeah.
I love that. Amazing. So when we started working together in the Sovereign Code, do you want to share a little bit about your experience? Like, how did it feel? What was it like? What was exciting to you about it?
Okay.
Questions. Tell me about your experience in the Sovereign Code.
Okay. So my experience in the Sovereign Code was, I came to it, yes, very, very sort of new, very much a novice to human design. And there were lots of other beautiful women in the Sovereign Code who were probably further along in their human design journeys, I would say, than I was, which was brilliant actually, because it meant that there was so much that I could learn. There's the learnings actually within the Sovereign Code itself. And then there was how much I learned when I would be on the calls, and people would be asking questions that you, of course, would be responding to, which was absolutely fantastic. And way the Sovereign Code is structured, so where you start, with your type, your authority, and you sort of move through everything, for me was just absolutely brilliant, because it meant that I could start at the beginning and I could build on everything and really learn everything. And the more I got to learn about my human design, the more I understood myself on a level that I just hadn't done before. It answered questions that I didn't know that I had. Which I just found brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and the whole container with the other women that were in sort of the Sovereign Code, it just felt like the perfect way to really learn and explore my human design.
I love that. Amazing. As a 2 energy, I'm very grateful for the feedback, so thank you. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that when we go into spaces like this, and this is why I love the group aspect of it, you get to, like, everybody's asking questions that of course serve everybody, but you don't know you have them until somebody else asks them. And I could, this sense of leaning into what are other people saying, and having the whole spectrum of people, from never knowing what human design was before to people who've been working with it and embodying it for a long period of time, meant that there was such a beautiful mix of awareness and knowledge and integration that everybody got really fully supported from that. So thank you for sharing about that. What would you say was your favorite thing about the Sovereign Code?
Oh, my favorite thing about the Sovereign Code. God, it's really difficult to say that there's one thing. I had really powerful realizations as part of being in the Sovereign Code and learning about my human design. There had been stories that I had been holding on to since I was a child that weren't serving me at all, that I was able to unpick based on what I learned about my human design. And I was able to, first of all, just recognize that the stories were there. And then secondly, see why they were there, and then how I could let go of them. And that was really, really powerful for me, because there was one particular story that I'd been holding on to since I was a child, about telling myself I was unable to connect with people. And when I learned about my 4-6 energy, and the 4 being all about connection and the 6 being about wisdom, and when I learned a bit more about the 6 and how you can sort of stand back and look at things in a different way, I started to realize that was me embodying some of my 6 energy as opposed to not being able to connect. And it started to sort of make sense. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've been telling myself this story for decades. And it's not true. And, sort of learning more about myself in that way meant that I could start to let go of some of those stories that just hadn't been serving me at all. And then really learn about this amazing 4 energy and 6 energy that's a part of who I am. And I've loved that. So it's been really game changing for me, that those learnings. So I would say that, I'm not sure that's one thing, but I would say that, sort of has definitely been amazing for me.
Well, it's that piece, isn't it, around the stories, because we have so many stories for lots of different reasons, from the world, from experiences, from people, and depending on our human sign, we hold on to certain stories. So being able to recognize what's a story versus what is empowered and what is in your soul design is really beautiful. And seeing that in that, that's one example. But even before we started recording, you were saying about how, if you don't mind me sharing, about how you didn't go out on New Year's because you didn't want to, but in the past there may have been more of a, oh, I should, and this is how you should celebrate, and all of those things. So that one piece has such a big ripple effect in so many areas, because you can recognize what's true for you and what's not.
Absolutely. And learning to trust, I'm a generator, I'm a sacral authority, and so learning to trust those feelings and learning to make decisions from that, rather than letting my head get involved, which takes me in all sorts of different directions. And learning to trust that and listen to that, feel that. Is again, it's a real change for me, because everything I did was all about my head. I think things through logically, and that wasn't necessarily taking me in the best direction. So that's something that I'm still working on and still embodying, and still it's to really get used to that, because it's different how we're taught to respond to things.
100%. And the thing is, with human design, Rara who's the founder of human design, he says it takes 7 years to decondition. So it's not like, the whole of your life is spent one way and then all of a sudden you learn you're a sacral authority and ta-da, it's all done. Of course, it's a journey, right? And some things are going to be easier to not only feel the responsible, but to step into it and go, okay, yeah, I've got the conviction, the courage and the confidence to actually follow this through. So it's this whole journey all the way through. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
What do you think was the biggest transformation that you had from going through the Sovereign Code and taking human design from awareness to actually living it and embodying it? How has that created transformation for you?
I would say probably the biggest transformation for me has been, as I've got to know my human design more, and therefore myself more, I've been able to forgive myself for all of the things, all of the stories, all of the things that I was holding on to and then beating myself up for. Once I understood my human design and understood how to let go of those things, I've been able to forgive that. And to be honest, my relationship with myself now is just so much better than it ever was. And that's life-changing, you know, that's a huge thing. And I would say that's probably it for me, you know, because that's something that I've been wanting to do, but never quite knowing how to do it. And it's human design for me has been the key. It's been a huge thing with me, just getting to know myself on that level more and learning to have peace with myself through doing that. So yeah, I would say that's probably it for me.
I love that. It made me a little bit emotional and happy, and that's huge. That is such a beautiful gift and so amazing.
Yeah.
I just really feel that. I mean, that's the forgiveness, compassion, like loving yourself, connecting with yourself, all of those, like we see those words around so often, don't we? Really important. You have to do this, you have to do that. But you're right. Like, how do you do that? Where do you even start with it? And of course, that journey is different for so many different people because we're all designed differently. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. You know, we, as you say, we're all told to do this, but no one really tells you how to do this.
right.
We all know how important it is to do it, but how, you know, how do we do it? And certainly for me, human design has been a huge part in that.
Amazing. Yeah, it's not a 15-minute bath, is it? It's actually
not.
Oh my goodness. And you also mentioned that you feel like you've got more vitality and in your body. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do. I just feel more, I know now sort of how to interpret what's going on inside of my body. You know, those sacral responses that I maybe wouldn't have understood before. I maybe would not have understood, you know, sort of what that meant. I now do, and I listen to it, and I go with it. So that helps me to yeah, just feel a lot better. And then because my relationship with myself has improved, I now treat myself a lot better. So my health has improved, you know, sort of what I put into my body, what I consume, whether it's what I'm eating, whether it's what I'm watching, you know, anything that I'm consuming, because my relationship with myself has transformed, that has transformed. And therefore I feel better. So yeah, my health, my fitness, my well-being, my vitality, all of those is so much better now than where it was prior to me starting the Sovereign Code. It's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. It makes me so happy. Oh my goodness, so much goodness. So what happened for you after the Sovereign Code? Like what has been your journey since then? Because we finished a few months ago, haven't we? So
yeah, we have indeed. So my journey since then has been a lot of practicing the embodying, you know, very much so, which I'm still very much doing. And it's then been bringing what I know about myself, you know, that increased awareness just into my everyday life, and it impacts everything. It impacts how I show up with work, with what I'm doing with my business, with what it is that I want to do, with my relationships. You know, it impacts absolutely everything. And I would say that I've come into 2023 now a very different person to the person who started 2022. You know, very much so. And now in 2023, the plans that I've got and what I'm intending to do are all impacted by the person that I now am. You know, so yeah, there's lots. It's still very much a work in progress, but I'm so excited for what it is I'm now going to be doing in 2023.
Amazing. Oh my goodness, I love that so much. So one final question. If anyone was on the fence about joining Sovereign Code, what would you share with them?
Oh, I would say, my word, do it. You know, absolutely do it, because the journey that you will go on with learning about yourself and the people that I've got no doubt will be in there, you know, sort of based on the people that were in there when I was doing it. You will meet the most beautiful people that are on a similar journey. They'll all be at different stages, but on a similar journey. And I've got absolutely no doubt that you will kind of go through the Sovereign Code and you will come out changed. You know, you just will, in the most beautiful way. And the way that you support everyone and bring everyone through that, it can't fail to be a positive experience. So I would say, you know, do it. It's an investment in yourself, you know.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's absolutely my pleasure. You know, the Sovereign Code is beautiful.
Thank you. If people would like to connect with you, how can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at kirstinmarshall.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, Kirstin Marshall on Facebook, and that's it. I'm just on Facebook, really.
Perfect. Connect with this amazing lady because she's incredible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, lovely.
You're so welcome.